Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of the She.Must.Knit podcast. My name is Erin, and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. Did you get a lot of knitting done? I didn't, but that's okay. I had a really busy week. It was the last week before school ended. Today was actually the last day. So Avery is home for the summer now. And I just don't know how much time I'm going to have, so I wanted to try and get done all these orders I had and wholesale and custom and get as much of that done as possible. Plus, I had the collection for this week, and I wasn't even sure there was going to be a collection because when I placed the order to restock all the yarn from selling at my shows recently, the delivery date that they gave me was today. And usually for me to have everything done for the day that I record, I need to have, I need to start dyeing and you know, prepping everything on Tuesday. So I was like, oh my gosh, if it comes on Thursday, there's no way I'm going to get it done. But it came early, so I had time. So I had a collection this week, and I'm really excited to show it to you. I really, really love it. So what do I have for you today? I have a whole bunch of stuff, and none of it is stuff that I expected to have to share. The first thing we're going to do is a bingo update, because I think the last time I shared my progress with you was one of my very first episode 2 or 3, and I've been working hard on it, and I didn't realize how much progress I've made until I looked at the shot that I showed you then to say what I had done at that point, and then my recent card. I had a look and I was like, wow, I've actually really done a lot on it. So we're going to do a bingo update. I have a finished object to share with you. I have some spinning to share with you. I haven't been spinning in so long. This year, I think this is my second completed skein. I am really, really, like, I don't want to say I'm behind because I don't, while I do have goals on my bingo card for spinning, like, I get done when I get done, right? So I just spin when I want to spin, and so this is my second skein. That's just how it is. But I've got spinning to share with you. I have some pattern highlights that I found this week. I've been so inspired this week to cast on a bunch of stuff, but so I have some pattern highlights that I want to talk about. And then I think I have the collection. So let's get started. I'm going to have a quick sip. It is very hot today. This weekend is going to be sweltering. I think it's going to be the highest temperatures that we've had so far, like above 40. It's Canada Day weekend, so we're going to be out and about, and it is going to be hot. So I have my iced coffee today, and yes, let's get started, shall we? So the first thing I'm going to do is a bingo update, because the 2 projects that I'm going to share with you today, actually they work towards my bingo, and because of these projects I was able to, one of them I was able to cross off 2 squares, and the other one I was able to make progress on a square. So I am just going to put up a shot of my current bingo card. So what it is as of now, how many goals I completed. Again, the Crafty bingo is something that I am doing in the Bling string group on Ravelry. Everybody who wanted to participate created a card, and we've just been working on it, and it goes till the end of the year. If you really want to participate and you think you can come up with enough goals to fill the card that you haven't already finished, that you can finish by the end of the year, you are welcome to pop in and say you want to participate. But otherwise, it's a really inspiring thread to check out regardless. So anyway, I'm going to pop up a picture of my current card. And so when I was looking at my card that I showed in like episode 2, and then my card now, I have completed 6 more bingo squares. I was very surprised to see that. So since I showed it to you last, I got the box where I wanted to use 5 indie patterns that I had already purchased that were already in my Ravelry library. I completed the box to use 3 patterns from books or magazines that I currently own, and that's actually one of the projects I'm going to show today. I completed 3 hats, so the pattern hat that I completed a few episodes back, that helped complete that box. Complete 2 pairs of pattern socks. The stripes and stranded socks that I did, that completed that box. And then make 3 toy or doll garments. So that's another one that I was able to complete because of the project that I finished this week. So I bet you would like to see what I've been working on. Now, last week I showed you I was working on the test knit for Stephanie Lotman for the Daisy Girl tee in the nice rainbow and gray yarn. I did not work on that at all this week because I decided, I was looking at my bingo card and I was like, okay, it's almost the end of June. What do I have left, and are there any boxes that I can, you know, that aren't going to be a huge challenge to complete? What can I do that might, you know, just knock off a few more boxes? And so there was one box for using 3 patterns from books or magazines that I already own, and I had another box to make 3 doll garments for Avery's Dolls. And I had done 2. I only had 1 left of that one. And so far what I've been doing throughout the years, every time I make Avery a garment, I've been adapting it to make a doll garment to match as well. I'll pop in a picture here of the 2 that I've already completed, so Avery garment and matching doll garment. So I've been working on this Daisy Girl tee, and I had these 2 boxes to complete, and I was like, I wonder if there's a doll garment that I can make that will kind of coordinate with this Daisy Girl tee once it's done, because I didn't really want, this was the type of pattern I didn't really want to shrink it down into doll form, but was there something I could make for her dolls that would match this sweater, even if it wasn't the same pattern exactly? And then the box that had using 3 patterns from books or magazines that I already own, I only needed 1 more of project for that one too. So I was like, okay, let's look in my books and magazines and see if there is a doll garment that I can make, and that would, boom, those 2 boxes would be done. And one of the features I love about Ravelry is that you can go into your library and search by what's in your library. So that's what I did. I typed in doll, I saw what came up, and there was a pattern. There was a pattern in a book that I own. So this is the book here. Sock Yarn One Skein Wonders. I have a bunch of these One Skein Wonder books, and even though I've destashed quite a lot of my books that I'm not going to use, I've held on to these just because they have so many little one skein projects, and we all have single skeins, right? Right. So anyway, so I found this pattern here. So there we go. Little doll pattern, little sweater. So not exactly the same as the Daisy Girl tee, but I figured if I used the same yarn, then it would at least coordinate, right? And then I could check off that box. So I made this pattern for one of Avery's dolls. And here it is. And so I used the rainbow yarn. And it is being modeled by Michelle today. And Michelle was, you may notice that she has a rather fashionable haircut. She was one of the dolls that participated in the Great Haircut Extravaganza of September 2017. So yes, so she has quite the avant-garde haircut, but it helps model this sweater because it's not, her hair isn't in the way to show the back. So this is the sweater that I made, and it was a pretty quick little project. It took me maybe 3 or 4 days working on it here and there. And what I did, because I am still working on the Daisy Girl tee, is that I am working from the center of the ball for that project. So I just kind of flipped my ball and started working from the outside of the ball for this project. So I figured I'd finish this project, and then whatever I have left of that skein, I will just knit up into the body of the Daisy Girl tee before going into the other colors. So yeah, this was a pretty simple project. It was basic, just knitting in the round to your underarm, splitting. You do a little placket at the back because it just makes it easier to get on the dolls, on and off the dolls. The pattern called for hook and eye closure, and I just did, so when I finished casting off the edging here, I left a really, really long tail. I've done this with other patterns and I find it works quite well. I left a really, really long tail and then just used that tail and a crochet hook to make a little loop, a little button loop. So it's kind of like a little afterthought button loop, because I only needed one. It's only for a doll. Didn't have to be fancy. So I did a button loop, and I was able to get this on her no problem. The pattern has really cute picot edgings written in, and I did the pink yarn that I'm using in the Daisy Girl tee, I did that as a contrast on this picot just to kind of bring that color in, and the sleeves have that edging as well. And yeah, I think it's really, really cute, and it used under 50 grams of yarn. It used about just under 40 grams, So this is actually a really good use of sock yarn scraps. So if you have a daughter who has these 18-inch dolls, or grandkids, or even I was thinking, you know, birthday parties, if I really like the kid, and I knew they had dolls, like this would be, usually you get a birthday invitation 2 weeks before the party. I could do up one of these if I knew they had a doll. And I thought that would be really cute, you know, a little customized sweater, a little hand knit sweater for the doll. So I'm pretty happy with that. Avery likes it. She can't wait to start playing with her doll and the sweater again. And then once her sweater's done, she'll be able to wear them together. So that is my first finished object, and it helped me knock 2 more squares off my bingo. So the next thing I have to share with you is some spinning, and I have been working on this project for months. I had a look at my Ravelry project page for it, and I started this back in March, but I have been plugging away on it, and it is done, and I am very pleased with the result. When I showed this to you last time, I explained how I was intending on doing a chain ply with beads and asked you if you'd be interested in seeing how I did that. And you guys said yes. So while I plied this week, I made sure to try and record my process, and I have a little video up by the time this episode is up. That video will be available in case you're interested in seeing. So here is my finished skein. I am really pleased with it. The fiber was a bamboo blend from Frabjous Fibers, and it was a gradient, so it went from fuchsia to turquoise. And then I added, you can see there, I added some little, they were like a light pinky purple iridescent bead. So the only thing I haven't done is I haven't soaked it and, you know, like whacked it and hung it up to dry. But I am pretty happy with it. Like, I think my tension's pretty good. If I just let it go here, you can see it only twists a very little bit. So I'm pretty happy with that result. And I'm pretty happy with my tension as well. Oftentimes when you chain ply, the one downside to chain plying is that because you're essentially, if you watch the videos, you'll see this, but you're basically making little chains, hence why it's called chain ply. It's like crochet chains with your hands. And if your singles are not even, then when you grab the next loop to make the next chain, if you have a thick part and a thin part meet up, you can get these bumps that that can be very obvious. And usually once you kind of, you know, block your spinning, those even out. But if you're really like thick and thin, those can be quite obvious. But while I was spinning, or while I was plying this up, there were very few spots where when I made the new loop, I was like, oh, that's a really obvious join. So it is pretty even. And so that is, I'm pretty happy with that. Ooh, look at that nice blue. Anyway, you can see the beads in there. I love doing beaded chain ply. I think it just makes the yarn a little extra special because you just don't get, there aren't a lot of like commercially made beaded yarns, and if they are, they tend to be these luxury brands that are very expensive. So I really enjoy doing it. Now, I don't often knit with them. I can't say for sure if I'm going to keep this one. The last time I did a beaded chain ply, I put it up for trade. So keep an eye, if you like this one, if you like this, keep an eye on my Instagram. It might pop up there for trade. I don't know yet. I don't have any plans for it. But I am really pleased, and this checks off one, so it didn't complete a box, but this works towards, I have a box to do 2 chain ply gradient handspun skeins this year, and this completes one of those. So all I have to do is one more, and that box is done, which is awesome. And then after that, I put something on my wheel immediately because I find that's the best way to keep the momentum up. And I was trying to figure out what to put on there because Tour de Fleece is coming up, and if you haven't heard of that, it basically runs concurrently with Tour de France, and you spin every day that the cyclists are touring. And I haven't participated the last few years, but I think I am going to do that this year because there's something I really want to get done and challenge myself to do. But that doesn't start for another week. So I was like, okay, is there something that I can get done in a week before I start that challenge project? And another one of my bingo squares is to do 2 skeins of a bulky, so basically when I say bulky, just a thicker weight hand spun yarn. And I've already completed one of those this year, and I thought maybe I can do a bulky, and then that box will be done too. So I immediately grabbed some fiber that I had actually put aside to do a bulky spin. And I got that on the wheel, and I'm making pretty good progress on that because they go pretty fast. So the fiber I'm using is from Fat Cat Knits, who no longer dyes fiber, and I am so, like, she closed up shop. It was a sad, sad day when I saw that Instagram post that she was closing up shop, but I will cherish the ones that I have. So I have this fiber from her, which was Punchline, and then I have this one here, which is Sultana. And this, because this has purples in it, and this is purples, and they kind of have some similar, you see the magenta in there, they have some similar tones. I thought these two together might make a really, really pretty bulky yarn. So this one is already on my wheel, and I'm going through it pretty quick, and then I'll put this one on, and then I'm going to do a 2-ply. And I'm pretty confident that I can get this skein done by the time Tour de France starts, because my challenge project that I'm going to do for Tour de Fleece. You remember when I showed the owl blanket and my progress on the owl blanket? And that's on my bingo as well. And I was like, I just don't want to work on this because I need more yarn, and I have to spin plain yarn, and it is so boring, and I don't want to do it. I think I'm going to make that my challenge project. So I am just going to try. I'm going to gather up all the bare fiber that I have that I've bought for that project. I'm going to pull it out, and I am just going to try and spin all of it so that I can dye it. And then when I get back to working on that owl blanket, I know that whatever yarn I have is what I have, and hopefully it will get me through that blanket, because the way I've been doing it so far is I'll spin a skein, I'll dye it, and I'll use it up, and I'll be like, oh, I have to spin some more, and that's what stalls me out. That's why I stopped working on that blanket, because then I have to spin another skein, dye it, use it up, and I'm like, oh, I still need more, and then I have to spin it, dye it up, etc., etc. So I thought, if I just spin everything I have and then dye it, and that's what I have, then when I sit down and work on that blanket, I know I can just power through it. Because from what I remember, when I actually work on those owl pieces, they go really quickly, and I really want that blanket done. So yeah, that's going to be my challenge project for Tour de Fleece. Are you guys, any of you going to do Tour de Fleece? Let me know, comment below, or even go to the Bling Your String group. I don't know if, maybe I'll put up a thread for that this year. We'll see. I know there's some spinners in the group, so let me know if you're going to work on something. So yeah, that's my spinning. Now, the only thing else I have to talk about before I get into the collection this week is some pattern highlights. I have been so inspired this week. Oh my goodness. I want to cast on so many things, but I just know I can't. I have to go through my whips. I have to pull some stuff out and frog some things, because I've been thinking about them, and I just know I'm not going to finish them. And one of them is, okay, so inspiration. So the patterns that have been really drawing me in this week have been like summer weight tees. And I've been looking, so whenever I have a little bit of time and I go on Ravelry, I will go to the patterns page and I will look at new patterns. I don't know if you know how the pattern page works, or where these different areas are where you can find patterns, but there are a couple of places that I like to go, and one of them is the designer group on Ravelry, because there is a thread in there where designers post any new projects that or any new patterns that they have released in that month. And so one of these patterns that I'm going to share, I saw in there. And then there's also the actual pattern page, and there are 3 places that I like to look. So I think what I'm going to try and do is take a little picture and pop it in, because I know there's a lot of people who don't use Ravelry, like use all its features. So yeah, I'm going to pop a little picture and just kind of explain where I like to look for patterns, because this is where I found 2 of the patterns, or these 2 patterns that I want to share, because they've really inspired me. So the first place I look, there's an area in the top left of the patterns page called the Hot Right Now. And these are basically the patterns that are getting a lot of attention. Either they're being mentioned in forums, or people are going to the visits, so like the number of visits on the actual pattern pages are quite high, or there's just a lot of traffic around these particular patterns. So there's this hot right now section. So I like to go to the link where it says browse in this order, and then you basically see all the patterns in order from like the hottest and down. So I usually go through there and I'll look at a couple of pages and see what's going on in there. Another place you can look for patterns is your pattern highlights. So this can be found a little further down and to the right are these pattern highlights. And there'll be a link where it says view your highlights here. And these are all patterns that you know, the Ravelry system has picked for you based on projects that you have already in your project pages, designs that you favorited, designers that you favorited. So if you favorite a designer, like on their designer page, and they release something, it will show up in your pattern highlights. And so I'll go there sometimes and just see. And then the other place, if you go a little further down and to the left again, there is browse all patterns, like all patterns. So it's basically any category of patterns, any pattern that has been recently added to Ravelry will just show up there. So whether it's in the hot or not, or your highlights or anything, just every pattern. So if you really just want to see a mix and not necessarily the things that everybody's looking at, you can go there and just see any pattern that has been uploaded recently. So I check that out too. So the two patterns that I want to share with you are both summer tees, and they caught my attention. One of them I saw in the hot right now, and then the other one was in the designer group. But it's interesting because when I checked my pattern highlights recently, both of those patterns were in my highlights. So Ravelry decided that I should be looking at those anyway. But the first one is the Summerline tee. And the project page for this pattern just shows the back. And I clicked on it because of the eyelets on the back, and I was like, oh, I wonder what the front looks like. And when I clicked on it and saw the front, I was like, yes, I can see this being something I will wear. I think it was a few episodes ago I was talking about garments and picking garments that, you know, flatter you, and, you know, how you pick garments, how I pick garments, and just the questions that I ask myself when considering a knitted garment, because they do take time and you want to be able to wear them. And this pattern, like, it clicked all the boxes. If I saw this in a store hanging up, I would absolutely try this on. So I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to make this. And it's a DK weight yarn. And originally I was looking online and seeing if I could find something. But then I was like, I wonder if I have anything in my stash. And I actually do. I have some old stash. And I think as soon as I'm done the Daisy Girl tee, I might be tempted to cast this on, because another one that I kind of showed you a little bit recently was the Zanone, and I think I'm going to frog that. I think I'm going to frog it. I don't think, with the lace and everything, I don't think I'm going to get back into it. I'm not sure how I feel about having the lace on the back, so you know what, I think I'm just going to frog that one and either cast on the Summerline or this next one. So the next pattern that I want to share with you is one that also caught my eye, and it is the Girona top. And guys, this design is this designer's second pattern. She only has one other pattern on Ravelry. It's for some socks. This is her second design, and I just love it. I think it would be so versatile for so many people. I think it would suit a lot of people. I love that it's kind of color blocked, because I think in terms of stash busting, it uses a fingering weight yarn. I think it would be really easy to find yarn and stash to do this pattern. And I just think it's overall, it would be flattering on a lot of people. For me personally, the only thing I would change is I would make one of the sides either front or, well, because she says it's reversible, like you can wear it front or back. I would make one of the sides with a slight V to the neck, because I have learned about myself personally that I don't tend to wear tops that have higher necks. I'm not drawn to them. Like, I'll buy them, they'll sit in my closet, I'll put them on, and I'll just switch them out for something that either has a scoop neck or a V neck. So that's one thing I would change, but I know a lot of people look really good in that neckline, and I just think that this top could work for a lot of people. So I wanted to share that one with you too. It's a new design. It's a fairly new designer. head over to that project page or the pattern page and, you know, give it a little love, because I think she did a really great job. So I wanted to share that pattern too. I think it's a fingering weight yarn. I might do that one too. I don't know. I think I'm going to do, I think I'm more drawn to the Summerline top first, and then I might do that one with my, with the fingering weight yarn, that when I frog the Zanone, I will have a whole bunch of fingering weight linen, and I think that will work really well with that. It will just be a really nice drapey tee. I love the cut of I love these patterns coming out that don't have like true sleeves. They just kind of have these little cap sleeves. I am really, really drawn to that. So that might have to go on my list too. And that would help me complete another box where I have to do 2 garments. So yes, I am very inspired by these summer tees. Let me know what you think. What are you inspired by? I've been hearing from a lot of people that, you know, usually I find in the summer sometimes your knitting mojo can decrease and you're just not interested in knitting. And I've heard from so many people that they just want to make all the things right now. And that is exactly how I'm feeling. I want to cast on all the things. So we'll see. We'll see what I have next week. Maybe I'll cast on like 5 new projects. Who knows? Who knows? So that is all I want to talk about in terms of knitting. Next, I have the collection. You guys, this collection. So I showed you last week the 2 choices. It was either the books or the blooms. And right through to when I was starting to get ready to cut the fabric and prep everything, it was like head to head to head to head. Like someone would say blooms and then books and then blooms, then books. And so the colors went together between the 2 fabrics so well. When I found the contrast fabrics that I was going to use, it went with both of them. So I just decided I was going to do a collection with both fabrics. So I did some bags with blooms and some bags with books, and the yarn goes with both of them, and it's just a big happy family. So that's what I have to share with you today. So let's get these over here. Let's start with the bags. So for books, I was able to do a bunch of different sizes. Let's see, here we go. I've got, so these are the 2 that I got that are just the regular wee sidekicks, not the deluxe with the little clasp. And look at these fabrics that I found to go with them. Oh, I just love it. So this like aqua and then the orange. I love how it goes with the books, and it looks just as nice with the blooms. So I'm going to have 2 of these wee sidekicks with the books. And then I have one of my squishy travel pouches, the ones that you can just pop into another bag. I have one of those with the books. And I have one of my deluxe wee sidekicks with the clasp with the books. And I love how these accent fabrics look with this. I love these. So that's the fabrics with the books. And then for blooms, I was able to get 1 wee sidekick with just the regular wee sidekick, 1 wee sidekick with the accent and the clasp up here, and then the insides for these, I think, yeah, I used the orange. Oh, I love these. Okay, and then I got 1 bigger bag. I decided to do a bigger bag. So there will be a sidekick as well for the blooms print. And then the yarn, because I got my yarn order, I was able to do all my yarn, and I have got a sock blank, there, and I've got 2 skeins of sock weight, 100 grams, and then I have some sock sets. So I really like how these turned out. I did something a little different. I did kind of, I didn't do exactly half and half, but I kind of did 1/2 of the skein in this like blue semi-solid with speckles, and then I did the other half with the cream and then the speckles like of all the different colors that are in the books, both the books and the floral fabric. I did speckles of all those. So these are 100 grams of the 75/25 sock weight yarn. And then I have some sock sets. And the sock sets turned out a little different, but I still really like how they turned out. I mean, that's the thing with dyeing, hand dyeing, right? Like things, just because these skeins were a little bit smaller than the 100 grams, they just soaked in more of the color. So the sock sets have less of the white, but more of all like the speckly colors. So there's less solid white areas. So these are the sock sets. And then I did kind of a light navy with some turquoise in there for the toes. And so this is the other one. So you can see there's a lot more, like it's more saturated. The speckled areas are a lot more saturated. So those are the sock sets. So yeah, I have 2 sock sets. I have the 2 fingering weight skeins, and then I have all those bags. And I will let you know, just because I know personally I like to get a heads up, if you like any of this stuff, at some point in July, I have my annual birthday sale. And if you want to know when that is, and if you want a heads up, head over to blingyourstring.com and sign up for the newsletter, because I send out a little like heads up email about that. Yeah, so if you're interested in the sale, sign up for my newsletter. I will let you know. It's kind of in the middle of the month. So if you saw anything here that you absolutely have to have, it's up to you if you want to wait for the sale or not. So I'm just putting it out there. There is a sale coming, because I know I get upset if I buy something and then find out there's going to be a sale. So there is a sale coming mid-month, but if it's gone, it's gone. So I'll just say that. So for next week, I have, for the new battle, it's going to be a Disney battle. The 2 fabrics that you get to choose from. Oh, this could get ugly, I don't know. But the 2 fabrics are going to be Little Mermaid. I know there's a lot of Little Mermaid fans out there, so that's choice number 1, Little Mermaid. And the second choice is going to be Alice in Wonderland. So that's choice number 2. And because I've got a restock of yarn, I'm thinking whatever the winning print is, I might do another one of those mini skein sets with the little Progress Keeper. So we'll see what you guys choose. So those are the choices, Little Mermaid or Alice in Wonderland. Let me know in the comments below. Any comment on any of my videos goes towards a draw at the end of each month for a $20 gift coupon for my shops. So let me know what you think. Let me know your vote. Let me know what you're working on, or what you thought about the projects that I have, or what I should do. Should I cast on all the things? I don't know. We'll see. Avery's home now. I said that earlier. Avery's home from school for the whole summer. I don't know how much knitting time I'm going to get. We'll see. We'll see. It will be interesting. Anyway. So I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you get to knit all the things and make all the things, and you just have fun with your crafting. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.